If you can get your hot meal delivered to your house quicker and for a more affordable price than driving and doing a takeout, that's a no-brainer for anyone.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 366. When you're craving dinner and in a hurry, who do you call? That's an easy question for today's guest. Yariv Bash is the CEO and co-founder of Flytrex, an on-demand drone delivery company. Flytrex provides a direct-to-consumer autonomous drone delivery service that lets retailers and quick-service restaurants cater to a wider customer base with faster, safer, and more economical on-demand deliveries than ever before. The company is currently working with several restaurant chains and retail giant Walmart to deliver food and goods to customers' front and backyards. Prior to Flytrex, Yariv was founder and CEO of SpaceIL, a $100 million Israeli nonprofit organization that launched Beresheet, the first private interplanetary robotic mission to the moon in 2019. In this edition of the Drone Radio Show, Yariv talks about Flytrex, its innovative hot food drone delivery service, and how drones are transforming the home food delivery industry. But before we hear from Yariv, I want to remind you of an upcoming special announcement for those who are regular listeners and supporters of the podcast. Some listeners have suggested that I create a space where we can connect with each other and talk about the podcast and all things related to the drone industry. I'll be releasing our very own community of Drone Radio Show advocates. It'll be a place where we can connect, talk about current shows, bounce around episode ideas, get some behind-the-scenes insights, and have some fun. I'll have more information in the next couple of weeks. By the way, if you have a great story on the use of drones that you'd like to share in a podcast, contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's find out how drones are transforming the hot food delivery business with Yariv Bash of Flytrex. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Yariv to introduce himself.
So I'm Yariv Bash. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Flytrex.
Yariv, tell us about Flytrex. What does the company do?
Well, we're just like your traditional on-demand delivery service, only we're using drones. So the end customer, once you order your hamburger or pizza, you get your order a lot faster and for a much more affordable price than with traditional services.
Is it primarily food delivery, or is the company involved in a variety of other deliveries as well?
Currently, we're mostly focused on hot meal from restaurant chains and local restaurants. From what we're seeing, that's what our customers want.
Why did you focus on hot foods?
Basically, from day one, we thought that that's going to be one of the killer applications for drone deliveries. And we thought that's a very interesting market to focus on. So we just did that.
Drone delivery is a challenge unto itself. Does delivering hot food add to that challenge?
Yes, to some extent. I think the bigger challenge is basically the fact that you're certifying a commercial airplane, and our drones are being certified as commercial airplanes. But then using those airplanes to perform a burrito or a hamburger delivery, which are ultra affordable deliveries. So that's a very hard price for aviation to work at. That's been most of our concern in the past few years.
When did the company get its start?
We actually started back in 2013, almost 9 years now. But we started with drone deliveries back in 2016. In the first 2 years or so, we actually built and sold GPS black boxes for consumer drones. Back then, it was a very different market.
What does a customer have to do to order food using Flytrex?
It's pretty easy. All you have to do is download our app, the Flytrex app, to your iPhone or Android. Input your home address, just like with any other on-demand service. And if you're within range, you can select from a variety of restaurants. Once the drone arrives, we are lowered to roughly 80 feet above your backyard or front lawn. We lower the package on a tether very gently to the ground, and people like to test us with coffee, eggs, ice cream, you name it. And we automatically release the package and fly back home.
Where's the service available in the U.S.?
Currently, we have 4 stations, 3 in North Carolina in the Raleigh-Durham area. And we just announced a few weeks ago our new station in Texas, just outside of Dallas.
What sort of food are people able to order right now?
We offer a variety from the local restaurants as well as the restaurant chains that are near our station. So you can order anything from El Pollo Loco to it's just wings, by Chili's or McDonald's or Starbucks, depending on what you've got near the station.
Any problems in making sure delivery gets to the right customer? I mean, no food poachers or anything like that?
So far, we haven't seen any problem with that. At the end, you order something to your backyard or front lawn. It's there pretty fast. So, you're usually home when you're ordering a pizza. So it's similar to that. And once the drone arrives, you get a notification. So you're, usually just out there to pick up the package. And even if not, usually people don't steal other people's hamburgers.
And I guess it helps that the only people that know that a drone is coming is the customer. It's not like people are out on the street just waiting for the food to fall from the sky, right?
That's also true.
How are you getting the restaurants?
So we're basically approaching all the different restaurants and restaurant chains in the area and sign them up for the service. They're already accustomed to preparing orders for takeaway and for takeout and for on-demand services. So it's basically the same way. From our side, we send the runner to pick it up from the restaurant. So instead of driving 2 or 3 miles, all he has to do is walk like 200, 300 feet to the restaurant, pick up the order and bring it to the launch point. So it's pretty easy from the restaurant side.
Who's doing the flying?
So it's completely autonomous. In North Carolina, we're in partnership with Cozy Aviation. They're a local aviation company. They own, I think, 15 private jets. And they've opened a Cozy Unmanned company that does the operation on the ground.
Where's the launch site for the drones?
Also, no, we set up a launch point in the shopping center or next to it. And then we service all the different restaurants in that shopping center. The flights themselves are, of course, completely autonomous. Yeah, there's always a pilot in command, but it doesn't have to do a lot, I put it that way.
How are you working within the BVLOS requirements?
We're pursuing that. Flytrex is part of the FAA's Beyond program. We're solving the ground risk, almost there. We can already fly up to 1 nautical mile in all of our stations, above people, above highways, observe people, etc. And the next big milestone will be, of course, flying beyond visual line of sight. Under Part 135, which Flytrex has already asked, with Cozy Aviation, we've asked for Part 135 operations. You don't really have to be in visual line of sight with your drone. You do, however, have to visually observe that there isn't any other incoming airplane. So it relaxes the demands a bit, but it's still not complete BVLOS as you'd expect.
Now, once the drone reaches the customer's home, does the pilot in command get involved with the operation to complete the delivery?
Oh, no, not at all. Everything happens completely autonomously. The pilot in command only needs to interfere or intervene if there's a unforeseen problem. Basically, there's no joystick, there's no camera on board the drone, so privacy is kept. And the remote pilot in command, the RPIC, can instruct the drone to come back home or send it to land in an emergency location. But that's basically it.
How does the customer know when to go outside?
They usually get a notification and then the drone starts allowing the package. It's pretty straightforward. It's a lot more like ordering a pizza than a next day FedEx delivery. When you're ordering a pizza, usually you're home and you expect the pizza, and even if the DoorDasher leaves it outside of your house on hanging on your door, you still go and pick it up in a minute or two.
Well, it's just like you said. It's a lot like ordering a pizza.
Exactly. And we get there a lot faster than a human courier. So
What's it cost to use drone delivery compared to other methods?
typical traditional on-demand services charge up to 30% from the restaurant and a few extra bucks or more than a few extra bucks from the end customer, as well as a hefty delivery tip for the courier, just to make everything work and not to lose money. We're currently offering a free delivery. There's no delivery fee. With the restaurants that we sign up with, it's we can just charge them, and we charge them less than what DoorDash charges them. So it's basically a win-win for everybody.
I'm aware that Flytrex current partners include Just Wings, Maggiano's, El Pollo Loco, and Unilever, which sells ice cream. Are there other brands that I've missed?
We do, but it's currently under NDA. We'll hopefully announce them in the future.
I'm curious about the ice cream, because obviously there's the melting factor. How has that service worked out?
It was well received, and again, people like to test us on those kind of items. But again, from the moment you install the package in the drone until it arrives to your backyard, we're talking about 3 to 4 minutes. So it's a lot faster than putting it in a grocery bag and driving back home from a convenience store or from a grocery store. So it just remains intact and as good as it was in the shop.
I know you're primarily serving restaurants, but has there been any thought about working with grocery stores and expanding the type of food being delivered?
So we do also have a pilot with Walmart taking place. And of course, as we'll grow, we will continue expanding and looking for more things we can ship to the customer.
Yariv, can you give us your insight into what the past 4 years have taught you about drones and food delivery?
I think that what we've learned is that besides the futuristic look and the initial enthusiasm of customers, by the third or fourth time, they just, it becomes just a common service. They don't even sometimes go outside to wait for the drone. They just get a notification that the drone dropped it and they go outside and pick it up. And so it was very interesting to see how it becomes, how it starts as something that, the entire family is outside taking selfies. And within a few deliveries, that's it. It just becomes their default delivery option. So that was really cool to see. From the restaurant side, I'd say that restaurants are really eager for a more affordable delivery options. Currently, the rates that restaurants are being charged are killing them. If a traditional on-demand service takes 30% from the amount ordered, restaurants do not make 30% profit margin on their food. So any way we can help and lower that is a blessing, and basically turns a lose-lose situation for those restaurants into a win-win situation where they can actually make a profit on the food they're selling.
Yeah, that's pretty important. Yariv, I'd like to know, what's your quick elevator pitch for hot food delivery using drones?
If you can get your hot meal delivered to your house quicker and for a more affordable price than driving and doing a takeout, that's a no-brainer for anyone.
Yeah, I would agree. Now, is there anything from, say, the drone operational or regulatory standpoint that you feel, if changed, would accelerate the food delivery service by drones?
That's a tricky question. Yeah, we've worked with regulators all around the world. And I think that in the US, the FAA is actually taking a very mature approach. And the FAA is investing a lot of time, people, and resources, the IPP and now the Beyond program. And it's a much more mature approach than just giving out waivers and exemptions. They're really integrating, thinking how to integrate those drones into the national airspace. And I think most of the world is waiting to see how the FAA tackles it, and will probably copy paste it to different countries as well. So there are a lot of regulatory restrictions, and things are not moving as fast as a typical startup company. But we have to remember that safety comes first, and at the end, it's in everybody's interest to make sure that our skies stay as safe as they are today. And really, with the resources the FAA is throwing at it, things will be solved sooner or later, but they will be solved. So we spoke about beyond visual line of sight. That's exactly what the FAA is doing with the Beyond program. And hopefully we'll see results in the next year or two.
The city planner in me wants to know if you needed any local zoning or permit approvals.
Yeah, you do require some zoning. It really depends on the town and municipality, the city, the county, the state, etc. But there's a process. It has to be done, and we're going through it. There are towns where they get it immediately. In other locations, it takes a few videos until they realize what we're speaking of. But so far, we haven't seen any much, a real hassle in doing that.
I forgot to ask earlier, what's the weight of the package that your drones can safely transport?
So we can carry 6.6 pounds. Basically, we like to say that that's a dinner for a family.
What can we look forward to from Flytrex in the coming year?
Basically, more stations, flights to further distances, and servicing more customers from more restaurants. That's the goal for the next year or so.
Now, you've been with the company since it started, right?
Yeah, Amit, my co-founder, and myself co-founded the company back in 2013.
And is there a story about how you came up with the idea?
When we started, we did those GPS trackers for drones. And after 2 years, it was pretty cool. It was a nice business, even a bit profitable. And after 2 years, we thought about what's next. And we realized that from everything we looked at, we estimated that the killer application for drones is going to be a commercial drone delivery. We started focusing on doing that. It wasn't an aha moment, but basically a business decision based on our analysis of the drone industry back then.
That initial concept, was it built around food delivery specifically, or more general drone delivery services?
Oh, wow. So yeah, in the beginning, it was like general drone delivery, but that's like a bit like saying that you're doing general ground deliveries. But there's a huge difference between a DoorDasher on his bikes in Manhattan to a FedEx truck in the suburbs. They're both doing deliveries, but they're two very different companies using two very different vehicles. And as we progressed, we realized that for us at least, the interesting opportunity was hot meal delivery from restaurants, and we designed the entire system, including the drones and the unit economy and the marketing and the company itself, just for that.
Thinking about Manhattan, you bring up an interesting point. Is there a particular land use or community typology that works best for your service?
At least for us, we're aiming at the suburbs, where people have private houses with backyards or front lawns. I don't think you'll have a great user experience in Manhattan, where we'd ask you to, climb to your rooftop or go to a street corner. So at the end, most of the US is suburbs. We're talking about roughly 2/3 of the US population. So that's an amazing market to focus at.
And I know for a fact that in most suburbs, dinner time traffic is usually horrendous. So if you're able to bypass all of that to get food to the customer, that's a big deal.
That is very much true. We're seeing that.
Is there anything special about the drones themselves? Did you say Flytrex makes their own drones?
Correct. Per FAA's requirements, we are basically the airplane's manufacturer. So you have to design and produce them according to FAA regulations. So these have to be your vehicles. And they're really very good only for one thing, and that's a dinner for a family in the suburbs. Anything else, they're really not the right vehicle for the mission.
Are they designed to keep the food warm while they fly in the air?
We don't have to. The flight is so fast, just a few minutes. But, we have a very special tether mechanism that can release the package and also automatically release the wire if someone tries to pull it or something happens. The drones themselves are designed to be very quiet. So when we're cruising, you can barely see or hear us. And we lower the package pretty quick. So it's even when we lower it above your backyard, we do it very fast, and we're a lot quieter than just landing in your backyard. Those kind of things that really tailored for the task that we're solving.
Can you give us an idea of how well the food delivery service has been adopted so far?
A few months ago, we've announced that we've delivered more than 23,000 items. And I can tell you that we're in the hundreds every week by now.
Are you operating in other countries as well?
We have a pilot with a local company in Iceland, but most of our focus is on the US.
What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs?
I'd give very general advice. One is that if it pays your salary, then it's your work. If you can't get it to pay your salary, then it's more of a hobby than your full-time job. And the second is ignore the people who tell you no. Analyze why. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But as long as you have enough people telling you yes, supporting you financially, of course, who are not your parents, then you can keep on going. If you believe in your idea, in what you're working on, then that's a sign you can continue.
And for my final question, Yariv, what message would you like to leave regarding the future of drones and food delivery?
Basically, drones are, when you think about it, are just the optimal solution for local deliveries. And if you think about the alternative of putting a guy in a one-ton car to deliver a hamburger in the suburbs, that sounds incredibly crazy.
That's it for episode 366 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Yariv Bash of Flytrex. I want to thank Yariv for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Flytrex or want to connect with Yariv, check out the webpage at flytrex.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, then I'm sure you're going to enjoy being part of the community of Drone Radio Show advocates. Look for more information in the coming weeks. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.